Welcome to the Love Kanika podcast. My name is Kanika,
My name is Vanita.
and we are back for another show.
Yep. Yep.
If you are new to the channel or new to the podcast, welcome. If you don't mind subscribing, because this is a new podcast, a new show. We're trying to also grow the show and the channel, so we will would love your support. Also, hit the notification bell because we do the show at 7:30 on Wednesdays, and we also do it on the weekend sometimes. But if we decide to do it, you'll be notified if we do go live. So, how are you today, V?
Good actually. Chilling.
Good. Yeah, same thing.
Everything's grand. How are you?
Good, good. Say no, say no. How was your week?
It's been good. No,
Good.
there's a few car issues, but other than that, I'm all right.
Halfway through.
Halfway through.
Hump
Yes.
day. Gotta love
Hump
that.
day all day. Exactly.
On to my favorite, which is Friday.
Yes. The weekend. I
My
live
favorite
for it.
time of the week. Yeah. So tonight we're gonna talk about the decision to have kids. This is something V and I have talked about a lot over the years,
Yes.
and uh, it's something we've kind of asked a couple of people because if you think about the choice, it's a huge responsibility to take on. So it's always interesting how why so many women make this decision and basically voluntarily give up their freedom. So we're gonna talk about that tonight. And what sparked this uh, conversation, although Vanita and I talk about it all the time, we saw a post on Facebook from a young lady, and I guess she was venting. That's what I would call it about
Yeah.
mom. Basically, she was just saying if she had a known if she had a known then, I think her baby may be like, she looks to be a little, maybe, I don't know, 15 months. She's maybe two at the most. But anyway, she was saying if she had a known then what she knows now, she would have never had kids. And she put this on Facebook and it went viral. So let me
Mm.
see if I can
Share a
share.
little bit of it.
Yeah, and we can read what Miss Nicole said. Let's see if it'll let me share screen. Allow. Might not let me share, y'all. I'm gonna try.
It look like you're frozen. Are you still there, Nika? Looks like we're having some technical difficulties, guys. She's frozen, trying to show the video. So hold on a second.
Share because it kicked me out. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Oh, okay, there it goes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not gonna be able to share. So I'm just gonna read it, y'all. I'm just gonna read what she said. So she posted this on July the 18th um, to her Facebook page, to her personal Facebook page, and this is what it says. It said, "If I would have known what I know now, motherhood would never have been on the table for me. I despise motherhood. I hate my sleep has been interrupted for 2 years. I hate cooking in the evenings. I hate finding snacks. I hate making bottles. I hate changing diarrhea diapers consistently for 15 hours straight. And this is my Saturday. Being a mother is not aligned with my soul's purpose. And that is why, before we have children, it is important to get to know yourself. If I would have taken the time to truly understand who I am and the things that bring me joy, being a mother would have easily been taken off the table. It baffles me how women can sit up and have multiple kids by multiple men, knowing damn well they hate that shit. Ain't no baby cute enough, sweet enough, pure enough for me to do this again. I enjoy my freedom way too much. Then she goes on to say, now she's done it since the child is here, she's gonna do her best to raise her baby as high vibrational as she could. So she talks about that. Then she says, I would not recommend motherhood. I give it 1 star. And I definitely don't recommend it to people that are in trauma bonds and hoping it will hold some shit together, which is what happens to 80% of our population. The ends with close your legs and go within before you decide to have a child, or you will only continue to reproduce your traumas and low vibrational frequencies into the universe.
Hmm.
What do you think about that, B?
That's deep. I mean, that's deep.
That was a deep post.
I mean, that's her truth, I guess.
That was it.
That's deep.
It was so many comments on this particular post from women who were saying they actually agree with her. That they actually feel the same exact way. And it was interesting because it really was the men who were reading the post, who saw the post, who were giving the most pushback. They were like,
well, I perceive men love to get pushback on this topic because half the time they are not the ones that's taking care of the kids. So if you're a part-time parent, because that's pretty much what you are when you're not hands-on day in, day out every single day, you're a part-time parent, it seems easy. It's just like a job. So if you go to a job part-time, maybe 2 hours, 4 hours at the max, the feeling and the effect of the job is not going to be the same as a person that's working 8 hours a day.
That's very, very true. That's very, very true. I often this show ain't really necessarily about the choice to have kids. It is, but it ain't. This is really more about how society programs us to do certain things on such a deep level that we don't even stop to think whether or not the choice is what we want to do or what we align with, right? And her last post, when she said, close your legs and go within, or we're going to continue to reproduce traumas, the trauma, a lot of times, and we know we talk about this all the time, you and I, sometimes you don't have a mother or father or both.
Mm-hmm.
Or you had one who was depressed or one who wasn't.
They couldn't be present because they was working.
Yeah. Or they wasn't emotionally connected.
Exactly. They could have been broken themselves because we don't know what their background was with their parents.
Yeah. Yeah. Women, and particularly in the Black community, most women in the Black community, a lot of us was raised without fathers. So as soon as you get of age, because that's all you've seen, the only thing we know to do as a teenager, as a young girl, because a lot of these kids women have when they're young, is have a child, get in a relationship,
Exactly.
Try to seek the love from the man because you don't know no better. And the babies usually come into the world, and a lot of women don't want to admit this, as products of wanting to be with a man or trying to be in a relationship with a man.
That's true.
And then it doesn't work out.
And products of a good time.
Or products of a good time. Products of a good time. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Products of a good time, and a baby's made,
Exactly.
And
then because of religion or whatever their thought processes or what they were taught, that's when that comes into play and kicks in, and then they perceive I can't have an abortion, or nowadays I need to research and look to see when the morning after pill was made because it's been out there for a little while now. So
Yeah.
You know, even the morning after pill, it's so many ways to prevent from having them now, where you don't necessarily have to just go have an abortion.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
half the time they don't believe in any of that. Or I've had a couple of people say to me they didn't even know what the morning after pill was, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And and that's where I think a lot of, particularly, and I don't know why, I'm not a mother, I'm on the outside looking in, but I notice in the Black community it seems like a lot of moms don't really, I don't know if they're not talking to their daughters about this, or they're talking and daughter's not listening. I don't really understand why so many generations of women kind of make the same decision, particularly when you can put, like, what is a shot in your arm where you ain't got to get pregnant for 5 years?
An epidural,
Yeah,
isn't it?
some
Yeah.
shot, yeah, that you can put in. It's so many ways to prevent this. I again, I'm not a mom. Native, I'm sure going to have their reasons for not talking to their daughters, but it's important for us, the older generation, to tell the truth to these young women.
Well, I think we're trying to get around to that now because, as we have stated, our elders didn't tell us. You know, I can remember when it came to me having fibroids, and, you know, I made the decision to go ahead and have my hysterectomy. And I went to two of my elders to say, so this is what I'm about to do. And they was like, oh, I did that. And it's
Yeah,
like, yo, you didn't think to have a conversation with me about it? Because I've been dealing with this for some years, or, you know, you didn't think that was necessary to filter that information down, or discuss it somewhat. And
yeah,
a lot of times they don't. So I think that our generation is trying to change the narrative now.
yes, and that's the beautiful thing I love about the internet.
I said epidural. It's not epidurals when you get
Yeah,
when
that you
you
mean,
go to
you know what I'm talking about, when the
but
thing.
yeah, I can't think of the epidurals when you about to have the baby,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I don't
I
know what that. I know what you're talking about. The thing in your arm for five
It's like,
years.
yeah, 5 or 6. I think it's different years.
Years, yeah.
That's what I like about the internet, is because it's when you come from a small town, a small country town, and you've never been outside of that town, particularly as a woman, and all
Hmm.
you see is, everybody around you having babies, and that's just kind of what you see. Then you are going to be probably more prone to make that decision yourself, because you think that's the norm. What the
Exactly.
internet has allowed is for people who may not have who haven't had the opportunity to see that's more to life than what's in your small town or in your small city, that it's opened up the world to people, and I love that. I can even see that with traveling. When I first got on Facebook in like 2008, it wasn't a whole I didn't see a whole bunch of people traveling, right?
That's true.
And when
That's
we
true.
started traveling, heavy in like what 2010, it still
Hmm.
wasn't. But now in 2022, I see a lot of people starting to travel and get passports and all those things.
Exactly.
Has a lot to do. That has a lot to do with the internet.
Yeah, it's just a lack of information
Yeah,
overall.
yeah.
Hmm.
People are seeing that there's a life outside of what you know, and that's so important. Some of us are trapped in our own cultural matrix, based on, it could just be based on the region of the country you live in, or the city
Hmm.
you live in, or the state you live in. So everybody around you that do a certain thing, and you just mimic that. You see that a lot in our community. A lot of men a lot of men be having a lot of shit to say about women having children without husbands, but what they don't take into account is this is their matrix. The cultural matrix in our community is that's what you do. Your aunts did it, your mama did it, your sister did it, everybody's doing it. So of course, if that's the template you see, people mimic what they see. That's how babies learn to talk. That's how babies learn to do. They mimic us. That's how people learn. That's how the brain works. So of course if everybody's doing it, you're gonna probably follow in their footsteps. But again, I'm glad with the internet age, and like Vanita said, people are talking now. We're talking now. Women are seeing that you don't necessarily. have to, so many roads and routes you can take in life. You don't just have to have a baby, right? If you don't want to, I've asked so many women, why did you get pregnant? Why did you have a baby? And it's always nothing. It's no answer. It's no
nothing. I've heard nothing. I've heard it was against my religion. I didn't think religious wise that I was able to. I didn't know anything was out there. Yeah, to not have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All those type of things. My mom wanted me or told me I couldn't.
Yeah.
I've heard that. Usually those type of answers is what you get. I never hear anybody say, well, I really wanted a baby and I was trying hard to have a baby, and we were trying and we had planned it out and we was having active sex to make sure and making sure, when I was ovulating that we were actively blah blah blah. You don't hear that often.
I ain't never heard it.
No.
I ain't never heard it. Never heard it. It kind of is afterthought of having, sex with some dude we trying to be with. And there's nothing wrong with having sex. Sex is amazing, and you grown, you do what you want to do. The issue is that don't bring a baby into it, because a lot of these men ain't even worth they're not worth the giving your womb to. They're not worthy of that honor. Not only are they not worthy of that honor, they don't even want it. They don't even want it. I posted something on Facebook today. I saw on TikTok. I wish I could share it, but it's acting up. And this girl, she was crying about, being a single mom and everything she's going through. And there was thousands of women commenting saying they understood. It was going through the same thing, giving her sympathy. And even some men. She was a Caucasian lady. And I posted it on my Facebook, and let me tell you, the men on my Facebook page had zero sympathy for her. They was like, oh, well, so what? Boo-hoo. You did it to yourself. Who cares? Raising a kid ain't that hard. Y'all make it. I mean, just when I tell you men won't give a damn about your plight, they not going to give a damn about your plight. So if you make this choice, ladies, you better be ready. You better be ready, because it's going to be on you. And yeah, the daddy might help, and you might, co-parent or whatever the situation may be, but primarily it's going to be on you. And that baby usually reaches out to the mom, and the baby needs something, wants something. That baby primarily is going to come to you.
They feel the energy from you as opposed to the father. That's why.
They do. The caring, nurturing.
Yeah, because the men don't give off. They have to consciously choose to give off that type of energy in order to do it. Other than that, it's not gonna happen.
They do. And let me just keep it real. The men you saw on the movies and the TV shows, ladies, because that's what y'all mimicking. That's what you're trying to get to. You're trying to get to the family that you saw in the media. And I say that because you didn't see it in the Black community. It ain't really existed in the Black, not like that. Not intact family, dad in the house, mom in the house. You ain't seen it. So you got it out of the media. That's not real in our community. And unfortunately, so many of us don't realize that, because TV and the media has played such a big part in shaping a bunch of our thoughts and choices, and we don't even know it.
That's true.
We don't even know it. That TV is that TV can make you go buy a car.
That it can.
You can broke as hell and let the right car commercial come on.
That sounds crazy, but it's true.
That's how much it programs. It's in it. A lot of times it's subtle. It's a subtle programming. So you think you just watching a nice commercial, but they're actually putting these images in your mind. It's like beaming out to your brain, to get you to do a certain thing. It's the same thing with movies and TV shows. It's an underlying message a lot of times that you are just not conscious of. And that's why I talk about this a lot, is because I want people, particularly women, because women, to me, I feel like suffer the most. And this is what I see from what I've seen, particularly Black women, from growing up till now, 44 years old. I've seen Black women take the brunt of the suffering when it comes to the journey of life. And a lot of it comes because of the subconscious choices that we make out of trauma, loneliness, trying to be loved. That's a big one, trying to be loved. A lot of these kids that come here or they're a byproduct of us trying to get somebody to love us. When
That's
can you
true.
kind of tell them about the reason why you had your child?
The reason I had my child was based off of trying to get back at my mother. I felt like my mother, um, I'm not gonna say threw me away, but I felt like she could have put forth more energy to keep me and raise me herself. Instead, because of her past, she felt like she couldn't do it. So she allowed my grandmother to send me to my great aunt to be raised. And of course, that traumatized me. So for me, it was I had my daughter to quote unquote try to teach my mom how to be a good mother. Yeah, I, I, it backfired on me. In other words, yeah. So I trumped myself is what I
Yeah,
did ultimately.
yeah, that is to a lot of women. That is
Hmm.
to a lot of women. You try to whatever get them to love you, be a part of the man's life, whatever underlying reason, unconsciously
Is
or consciously we make,
exactly.
it
Ex-
doesn't really have nothing to do with being a mother.
Exactly. Because
At
had that
all.
experience as a child not happened to me, I probably wouldn't have my daughter today. I don't think I would have had a child.
That's deep.
I'm almost positively sure because my aunts that raised me, when I called them to tell them I was pregnant, they was like, "We didn't think you were ever gonna have kids. Like that. That's not that's not something that we saw with you. You were always on a money grind, focused on money. You were more auntie type, and they're
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
right ultimately.
And I listen. I'm I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't think women should have kids. Any woman of any race, anywhere. That's my opinion. I'm gonna stand on that, and I say that because I don't see much of a benefit to having kids. I just don't see it. I don't see no benefit. I see women sacrifice and lose way more than they gain.
The scales definitely aren't balanced. That's for doggone sure.
It just
Scales
ain't
aren't
balanced.
balanced in it.
It
Mm-mm.
ain't balanced. Some women never recover from motherhood.
That's
Some
true.
women bodies never recover. Some women actually pass away in childbirth. I just don't
Yep.
recommend it. And I know that's a hard thing for a lot of people to hear.
Most definitely.
Particularly particularly because your children are already here. I get it. You cannot. Some people can't imagine. Like that. They don't even want to think about that. But for those who haven't done it yet, I want you to think real long and hard because almost every woman I know said that the reality of motherhood did not match the fantasy.
The
It
grass is not
is
greener on the
not
other side.
what they thought it was. It is
Nope.
not TV shows and cute pictures.
It's
Babies are
not.
only babies for a short period of time.
Yes. Oh my God. And even when they are babies, they may smell good and be cute at one point, but listen, you lose a lot of sleep at the beginning. Whew, you lose a lot of sleep.
Lot of sleep.
And my daughter didn't have situations like colic and other things that could keep a baby crying nonstop. Um, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
A good place to see exactly how it is. Kevin Hart did a movie that's on what is the I want
Netflix?
to say Amazon. There you go, Netflix called Fathered. He shows you a lot of what you go through.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
shows you a lot in that movie what you go through, all the way down to the women need to pay attention because his wife in that movie died during childbirth.
Yeah, she sure did.
She died during childbirth, and then the child was on him to raise.
Yeah. I just want women to get women we make a lot of decisions out of fantasy.
Exactly.
We make a lot of choices based on some fantasy stuff that we were programmed to believe. And the reality of a lot of times of what life really is, they just don't match. That's why I
Hmm.
have these shows because I want women to wake up and live in what is, not what you think it should be. A lot of women live in what they think it should be. Well, I think men should do this, and I think people should do that. Yeah, they should, but the reality is they don't. So let's deal with the fact that they don't. Now, how are you going to move with that information? Not the internet, and I get it. I get it. The reason why women don't want to deal with how life is because it takes away a hope of a better tomorrow. Do you know what I mean by that, Nita?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
It takes
It
away.
seems like because we're not taught to look at self or look at your purpose or anything like that. So it's like if you don't have kids, what else is there to do is what
Yes,
they think.
yes,
Because they're not taught to look for your purpose or look for what really, really, truly makes you happy. That's
it,
not taught.
it's not taught. It's not.
Mm-mm,
No one teaches women to seek first your purpose before you do anything else.
mm-mm.
Although it's in the Bible, it's in this Bible that everybody holds so high and quotes so much. But the one of the most important scriptures in I can't even remember which scripture it is, but I know it's something like seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all else will be added unto you. That's what that means. That means find your purpose first. But again, you don't know what you don't know.
That's true.
Our mamas didn't know it. So they couldn't teach it
That's
to us,
true.
you know?
Well, it's not taught at all. It's not taught to
Mm.
men. It's not taught to women. It's not taught to anybody.
Yeah, because
That's
men
that's
don't even
why men don't do it. They struggle after money, but they don't get far in it, like we have said in previous shows, because they don't even believe that they deserve to have the type of money that they really want. They
they
live in their
do.
ego. They live in their ego so much. And to tell you the truth, men and women live in their ego a lot, which
Yeah.
is why you cannot plug into your purpose.
Hey, you can't. You can't.
You can't do both of them. It's like oil
You
and water.
You cannot. You have got to master the ego. And we're gonna have the whole show
Yeah.
on the ego. Because the ego has effed up a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
The ego is why a lot of people broke up. The ego is why a lot of people ain't friends
Facts.
right now.
Facts.
The ego is why a lot of men are in jail. The ego is why a
Facts.
lot of men are in the grave. The
Facts.
ego, the protection, particularly for men, because women can't come out of their ego a little bit to have empathy and feelings and all of that. Men will die in protection of their ego.
Mm-hmm.
That's how
They
deep,
will.
and they don't even have
And but that's what's taught.
it
That's what
is.
society has taught. The society has not taught to pay attention to your purpose,
They,
which will make you be a lot lighter. Your ego won't be in the way so much. Your ego's never going to fully go away, but you'll know how to manage it more. You'll understand when you're in it. All those type of things play out.
Absolutely. And also when you know what your purpose is in life, you make better decisions because you can look at a thing, whether it's a relationship, a man, a job, a whatever, and say, does this align with my purpose of what I'm trying to do?
Exactly. Or what I'm comfortable in. And it also allows you to be okay to let it go when it's time to let it go.
Absolutely. You better speak.
Instead of
That's
sitting
real
in it for a long time, because that's what happens. We tend to sit in things that don't align to your purpose for years and
Absolutely.
years and years, and you get nowhere. You're just stuck
Absolutely.
on a hamster wheel.
People do this a lot in relationships.
Yep,
You know,
they do.
we know, men and women, both know inside this ain't because you can feel it.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know. But for whatever reason, fears of being alone, money, kids, stability, all these things, people just sit in years and years and years of life in stuff that doesn't align with them, in relationships and people that don't align with them.
Hmm.
It just doesn't align with you. And it's okay to say this doesn't align with me and what I'm here to do. Let me make a different choice.
i.e., having kids. The only thing is, with kids, you can't make another choice.
That's why you got to think. Ooh, you got to think about that one. This
You need to really pay attention ahead of time before you get yourself in that
absolutely.
situation.
This girl posted in one of my groups on Facebook. She said for all the old, she may be like her early 20s. She said, can all the older women, if there's any advice you can give me, what would it be? So it's an all women group, all women in groups, like thousands of women. Anyway, all the women were giving her advice. All the older were women my age were giving her advice. And so I said, my advice was make sure that if you decide to have a baby, that you're ready to be a mother and you're not doing it because you want a family, because you will be a mother when that man is long gone.
That's real talk.
So many women commented and said they wish they had a thought about that X amount of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was shocking. It was shocking to me that so many women don't think ahead. Ladies, we got to start thinking ahead. We're too in the now. There's a time to be in the now, and there's a time to think, okay, what are the ramifications of what I'm about to do?
Please think further ahead when you make certain decisions. Jesus Christ.
We got to think ahead. Before you make the
Yes.
choice, look at everything that could possibly happen if you make this choice.
Exactly.
Particularly the one of children. He could leave. Am I good with that if he leaves? Number two, if the baby comes out and is disabled, am I good with that? If it has autism, am I good with that?
Because those situations, those particular souls, there's no 18 years and they go off to college or out of your house or whatever. They're with you for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got to start talking to our daughters and our granddaughters about this stuff. We're doing them a disservice by not keeping it real with them.
Real talk.
We're doing them a disservice. We got to start being honest with these young girls so they can make better decisions that we didn't make.
That's
seriously. That's going to fall on us. If the next generation do the same thing, that's on our shoulder.
Exactly.
We should have told them. That's our job
to
tell them the truth about life.
Exactly.
Again, and the ramifications of it. You can't give a baby back. Men don't care. And you can look on my Facebook and clearly see they gives a damn. You had that baby, they say you made the decision. You wanted it.
I mean, at the end of the day, women do have the last decision on making a kid. They do.
They do. We do.
I get that he laid down with you. You laid down with him too. He didn't put no gun to your head to lay down. But ultimately, you have the right, because it's your body that holds the kid, to say yes or no to it, regardless of what the fuck they say. Who cares what they say? You have the choice on whether or not you're going to do it. It's your choice.
Yeah. I don't care what they say. I don't. It blows me that women even believe anything they say. It blows me. Ladies, I don't know what it's going to take. I really don't know. And again, it ain't all men, but it's a great majority of men. Men are taught, like Vanita keeps saying, are taught to manipulate from very young. And they learn that because they are trying to get sex. They're trying to come. Whatever that is inside of them that's driving, that drive, that sexual drive that causes so many of them to cheat on you. That's why they manipulate and lie. They're trying to get to that.
Mm-hmm. They're very good gaslighters. They talk a good game. You will want to not fully pay attention to what they say. Watch their actions, not the words that come out of their mouths.
You can't believe them. You got to watch what they do, not what they say. They won't match up.
Real talk. Real talk.
And again, they're taught this. That's how they learn that's how they get sex. That's their talk. So when you come along, they get angry. No, that ain't true. Because some of them really don't see it. That's all they know. Everybody around them bullshits and gaslight.
Exactly. That's real talk.
So when you're in it, you don't see it because that's all you know. All life. So a lot of times they don't see it. That's why they get so mad and call it bashing. They don't see it. They don't see the manipulation because
They really perceive that what they're doing is their truth.
they do. They
Really, truly.
do. They do. I was listening to this. Her name is Francella. I was listening to her. It's called the High Powered Podcast. It's on YouTube. Go over there and check her out. She has a very good podcast, and she was talking about how men is something. After I'm gonna have to pull it up on another show, but she was talking about how it's been proven that men, I think it's the testosterone in men, causes them to lack empathy. Like men naturally lack empathy. It's in them. Like something in them and in their brains causes them not to be able to connect in that way. So a lot of times women don't understand why they're like, how can he do that? How can he not take care of his kid? How can he leave the kid? Because they lack empathy. It's a lot of them. They're not all of them. There are some men who have empathy, and he say it ain't all of you. But for the most part, a lot of men lack empathy and they don't emotionally connect. It's not.
Now, I've talked to a couple of men that say it take them a long time to do that.
They don't emotionally connect. So this baby that we're carrying and nurturing in our stomachs for 9 months, when this baby comes out, it's just another person to them. They have to bond with that baby.
And that's a choice. It is. It's a choice. They have to choose to do that.
I think a lot of women look at men through their own eyes. We
look
at men through the female point of view.
And that goes both ways. Men look at us through their eyes. We look at them through our eyes.
They do.
Which is why they don't have no sympathy for our plights. And we looking at them like, well, I don't get where you're coming from because I do have sympathy. So it's like, what's wrong with you?
Absolutely. We're just made differently.
Exactly.
Made up differently. And I want women to be aware of that and they make choices accordingly instead of wrapping your life and your choices around them. Because a lot of women have done that and it didn't turn out good for them. So make sure you're making the choices you want to make for you. Because trust me, men don't make choices based on us. They make choices they
make choices based on them. If you can't take a page out of their book, take the page out of their book on self-preservation because they self-preserve like a mug.
I'm telling you. I learned it from them. That's what taught me how to do it.
Exactly.
Men. And what I learned about me and what I took from them is I choose me.
Exactly.
Every single time. I got that from them. They choose themselves. They ain't sacrificing for a motherfucker. They don't care.
They're not.
Shit. They'll leave you and them kids. They don't care.
They don't care.
And they often do. Because that's what they are looking out for themselves. Women got to learn the art of looking out for yourself.
Exactly.
Women have been taught that society that your lot in life is a sacrifice. You sacrifice for your kids. You sacrifice for that dude. You sacrifice for your family. You sacrifice your job. You sacrifice. No. Because let me tell you, there will be no reward at the end of this.
No. And then they love to tell you you're selfish. You're selfish. You're selfish.
There will be no parade.
They're selfish.
I'm telling you.
So know that.
There will be no parade or no award for your sacrifices at the end.
No paycheck. No nothing.
Be okay if you walk down this sacrificial lamb road that so many women do, because it's gonna be on you. I hear so many women say, I would have did this, or I would have rolled it out with him. I would have never da. That's you. That's your choice.
That's real talk.
That's your choice. You can't expect people to do what you do. So if you do it, be okay with it. Because men don't live by it. They don't live by that. They don't live in that world. They live in the me world.
Exactly.
And that's all I want women to see. Because I see so many tears cried on different social medias behind someone is sacrificing for a man in a relationship. I'm like, what is it that women are seeing? It's clear as day. It's all in our face every single day. And I guess because of the empathy part of us, the mothering part of us.
That's exactly what it is.
The nurturing part of us. We want to help and save and give and help and save and give. Let me just help him get on his feet. Let me just help him get his life. back. Let me help him. No. Would he help you get your goddamn license back? Probably not. Unless you hella fine. That's the only way men move. You got to be fine. And I know that hurts to hear. Men move when you fine. That's what they, everything about them is based on looks and sex. And money. That's it. That's all they care about.
That not is all they care about.
Not your soul, not your loyalty. Because let me tell you,
shit about that.
Let me tell you, I have been loyal to some men who turned around and gave me their ass to kiss. Let me say that again. I have been loyal and went out of my way in relationships with men who turned around and gave me their ass to kiss. I will never do it again. I'm loyal to me. I learned the hard way. Don't you learn the hard way. You better be loyal to you. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to whether it's going to be them or your relationship, trust and believe they're going to pick themselves. Every man I know did. Almost everybody I know whose relationship ended, it ended because the man made a choice for himself of some kind, whatever that was. He didn't think about her. He didn't think about us. He thought about him in that moment. That's something men do. And women, be aware of that so you can make decisions accordingly. We too wrapped up in relationships. And again, like Vanita said, it's because that's what we're taught.
Mm-hmm.
We're taught that our life, that's why it burns me up when I hear women say, when I hear a woman say the phrase, keep a man, it burns my soul alive. I'm like, keep a man? That's what she heard all her life. He should be trying to keep you, but no. Society tells women that's your job. Compete, try to keep them. Do that. Hey, what are you keeping? Let's talk about that, Vanita. What do you think women are trying to keep?
Listen, in women's defense, they have kids, so they just want somebody there because they don't want to talk goo goo gaga all the time or kid talk all the time. Even if it isn't goo goo gaga, middle school age, the dramas and the woe is me's in middle school and high school, where we all know, girl, boy, that's just one little phase in your life. It's gonna pass. They get tired of talking about that. So they're looking for an outlet. So they perceive that the outlet is going to be from a man. But what are they really getting? Really nothing. Because by the time the guy comes in, it just depends on how connected he is to you. And a lot of times they're not. It takes them a very long time to be connected to you.
It does.
Ultimately, you're not getting too much of anything.
And it goes back to what Linda just said. That's another choice around having kids. It makes some women needy. And you need an outlet outside of just being a mom all the time. So it makes you want to, find something else. And a lot of women don't know nothing else but to try to find a relationship. So I get it. That's kind of how it goes. That's another thing women need to be aware of when you make this decision. It might put you in a needy type of role.
Exactly.
I got to be honest. When I look at my friends who don't have kids compared to the ones that do, I see a difference in how they move. My friends who don't have kids, they are the most happy-go-lucky. It's whatever. Let's do this damn thing. Always smiling, always happy. And then some of my friends who got kids always in man drama, trying to get a man to settle down with them and keeping them and heavy. It's just, I see a difference. And I know that's it.
It is.
It's the burden of the children versus not having that burden.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a difference. People don't like to talk about it. People don't like to admit this though. And I know because it makes it seem like you don't want to think you don't want your kids. You love your children. They're here. You love them.
Yes.
But the experience is what we're talking about.
I was about to say, it's the experience. Know to separate the two. That's the biggest thing that we don't understand, how to separate the two.
They don't. People don't know how to separate that.
Mm-mm.
It's the experience of taking care of them day in and day out that
Exactly.
tires women out, that tires
Mm-hmm.
them out emotionally, mentally, physically, and a lot of times financially.
Exactly.
That's why I want women to start thinking before we just make this decision so willy nilly. I see so many women just do it and don't even think about the what they're getting into. And I said when they come in, they just it ain't gonna be on them. They go off and and that's another thing. Be good with him going off making another family with somebody else. Because men do that often, a lot of times.
They do that. And
They
even
go,
if they're not off doing, say he is in the house and he is financially working and all those type of things, if you pay attention, a lot of times those that are financially taking care of the household, they don't come home like that. A lot of times they stay in the office non-stop. And it's because they don't want to come home and deal with the kids or quote unquote you nagging, and you're not nagging. It's like, yo, I've been with this child all day long, can I get a break? But they don't really want to give you a break because they don't want to deal with it either, which is why they say they stand in the office working nonstop.
let me tell you.
So just know that realistically nobody wants the kids, not the men or the women, not like that.
I just saw this play out in my in my neighbor. I have a neighbor who owns a pretty lucrative business.
Mm-hmm.
And since he's the CEO, he gone all the I would see him because one of his offices is near where our subdivision. And I would see him just all day going, coming, going, coming, going, coming, going, coming, coming, going. And his child's mother,
Mm-hmm.
who also had previous children from previous relationships, she lived there. She would be there, right? He would never be home.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They broke up about, I guess, 2 or 3 months ago. They broke up. He now is always at home to the point where I had to, it kind of threw me for a loop. I'm like, he's always home. So I asked him, I was like, why are you always, I was like, you were never home for like the last year and a half, 2 years, but now you are always home. Matter of fact, he not only do he be home, he be in
Mm-hmm.
the garage building stuff. Now, this ain't something I seen when she was here. He got like
Wow.
building shelves, just doing stuff. That's like, and
Wow.
he said that he has peace now.
That way.
He's at peace.
He was not coming home because the kids was in the house and he didn't want to come home to that. Her, as men say, quote unquote, nagging, but it's not even nagging. It's just she's tired because she's been dealing with the kids
Yeah.
all day long.
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with it. They want to get off from work and do what they want to do.
They do.
Which is most of the time just chill, watch the game, eat, maybe chop it up with you a little bit and have sex and go to sleep. That's what they want to do.
They don't want a parent.
They don't want a parent. Even the rich ones that do be in the house with the kids. That's
they don't
the
want
case.
a parent.
No.
They don't want to do it.
Mm-mm.
He basically confirmed he just didn't want to be in the house with her and the kids. When they moved out, he was at he done he done decorated his patio. He got a fire pit. I'm talking about chilling, heavy, redoing the house. I'm like, well,
That way.
a whole new mindset because now he's a bachelor again.
Exactly. The kids aren't in the house.
The kids aren't in the house. Women, y'all gotta think about this. You gotta think about all of this.
If the kids wasn't there and she was there, he would have moved the same way. He would have been chilling the same way he is right now.
Absolutely.
The kids is what has brought the monkey wrench into the situation.
Rose and monkey. Almost everybody I know broke up or divorced after the kids got here. Almost everybody I know.
There you go.
After the kids got here.
It's a lot of sacrifice.
It's a
once
yes.
You have kids.
And you might be sacrificing your relationship. So just think long and hard about it. And don't make it in no fantasy. Oh, he's gonna be another part of him is gonna be with me and we're gonna have this love. No. Men don't think like that. That's TV. That's fantasy. It's not even like that.
Why would want another part of him with me? Like,
Mhm.
anyway, that thought process is weird to me, but okay.
It's how women think. That's how we program. They saw it on TV. You know, the day to get here, they saw it on TV. That's what I said. The TV is so powerful. It really programs the minds of humans. It really does. And you have to be
That's
aware.
crazy. What if we evolve each and every day based off of
I agree.
experiences and things that you go through. So what happens when you 5 years down the line, you still want a part of him with you? Maybe you don't no more. Maybe you don't care for him because he
Women
hadn't
don't think
evolved.
about it. Women don't think about it.
That's just
We're very in the moment decision makers. We gotta start thinking. I myself have to further ahead, further
I
ahead.
agree. I definitely do all the
So
time.
every
Well, when
decision,
you have a kid, it really gives you no choice a lot of times but to think
yeah,
further ahead when you have kids. So
think further ahead when you with these men too, because
exactly.
nine
That's when you
times,
want to think further ahead. Don't wait
yeah,
until you done created a whole kid to do it.
absolutely, 9 times 10, he will be temporary. Just know that.
Yes. Yes.
The forever after that you've been sold, that is not the truth, ladies. That is another lie of the matrix. Most relationships are just for the moment that they're for. They're for a season. They're not forever. So make sure that you're not making it permanent decisions in temporary situations. Okay?
Hmm.
Enter for the moment. 5 years, 7 years, 8 months, however long it lasts. Enjoy it in the moment. And then you move
Exactly.
on. A lot of women don't want to hear that. You want it to be what you saw in the movies. That ain't it. That's not what even what life is about. Honestly, and relationships are primarily for. We'll talk about that on a whole nother show. We're gonna have a whole nother show on the spiritual meaning behind relationships. Cause it ain't the right happily, it ain't that. Happily ever after, it ain't that. You can do that, but that ain't the primary reason for them. It's not.
Mhm.
It's for your spiritual growth.
Exactly.
Growth. So I think we're going into an hour now. Do you have anything else before we wrap up?
No, I would just
Before
say more
we,
than anything, just boundaries for yourself,
yeah,
ladies. Self love and think further ahead.
think further
That's it.
ahead. That's my advice. You making a decision, think about the consequences of everything that could possibly happen if you make this decision, particularly ones that are permanent like that, or something, even, getting married or whatever. You can get divorced,
That you can.
you can
You can
get
get out
divorced.
of that
Yeah.
situation.
Think about, just think about all the things that could happen, and will you be okay, if something did happen and you had to face one of these things, not just making choices in the moment. And tell your daughters and your granddaughters so they can make
Yes.
decisions, as they become young women and they are faced with all of these things that, life is going to present to them.
Exactly.
It's our job to do that. That's what I want to reach them, because again, like Vanita said, a lot we didn't get the information.
We need to educate, educate, educate.
Yeah, educate, and talk. And don't listen to me. And men are gaslighters. That's how they were taught. That's all they know. So they live in gaslighting. So you can't really listen to them. Look, men got an agenda, and this ain't me. I love men.
They do.
Some of my favorite people are men, but they got an agenda. They have to get that out of them. So that's a lot of times the agenda. It ain't love, ladies. It ain't love. It's your agenda. It's your agenda. Their agenda is sex. Two different agendas. So be
Mm-mm.
aware of that when you getting with these men. Because y'all not be on the same page.
Exactly.
So with that being said, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you, ladies in the chat. I see you. Hi. We'll be back again next Wednesday for another show. Again, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And hit the notification bell, because we will be maybe doing some couple of shows on the weekend coming up. We'll see. Yeah, and again, we will be back on Wednesday. Thank you again. Thank you as always to my beautiful co-host.
You're welcome. Always, always.
Yes,
You
girl.
guys have a fabulous rest of your week.
Yes, girl. Let me go have me some wine. You know, not the brother downstairs, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Let me go get some laughs with him.
I'm sure.
Yes,
That's
y'all have
always
a good
funny.
night. Yes, he is. Bye, y'all. Good night.
Good night.